Welcome back to the Tracy Take. I am Tyler here with my brother Ryan, and today we are doing the final mock draft for the Los Angeles Rams in the 2024 offseason. It's a full 7-round mock draft, all of their selections, and we're going to break down each one. But before we do that, we are trying to get to 3,000 subscribers by the NFL draft. We are about 80 subscribers away or so as of the recording of this video. So if you haven't already, please go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel so you get notified when new videos come out, and also just help us reach our goal. We greatly appreciate it. Ryan, let's pull this up here. So it's funny. There's been a lot of talk about this as well. Even to supposedly Aaron Donald has even come out and said like the Rams don't need defensive tackle at all. They're going to go a different way. But I still just think in general, when you just go and look at this player, and it's possible he's not even here at 19 come draft night just because he's improved that much. But I think if Byron Murphy is here at 19, I don't know how you pass up on him, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I mean, as a defensive tackle, he has the length, the size, the play strength, the run stopping ability, and the pressure ability to be a star defensive tackle in the NFL. And like, I don't know if they necessarily need it, but you did just lose a Hall of Fame defensive tackle. This defense, I think, struggled to generate a pass rush without Aaron Donald on the field. And I believe at this point, all three of the edge rushers had been taken off the board. And so, like, I think their best chance would be to go with Byron Murphy, continue to solidify the interior, and then maybe take a chance on like an Austin Booker or an Xavier Thomas, like later in the draft, and then go from there. I don't remember if we actually took those picks or not. Actually, I don't know if we did, but
We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out. But again, like I just think it makes sense. You just lost Aaron Donald. You go get Byron Murphy to, obviously you're not going to replace him, but to fill that spot and keep it at a certain standard of play. And I think he would do really well in a similar role.
Yeah. I love the player a lot. I think too as well. Like if you're the Rams and he's here, I think you highly consider taking him. I think another route that they could absolutely go is going to be corner. They have made a lot of moves in the offseason at the secondary positions, such as Tre'Davious White from Buffalo, and a numerous amount of other players as well. So I think that they are kind of in the heart of getting some of these secondary off the board. I think that could be another potential option that they go. So it's going to be interesting to see. I think offensive line, they've made a lot of improvements on the offensive line in general. Maybe they'll go JPJ, kind of solidify the center spot. But I even think as well, Steve Avila is going to kick into center if he hasn't already. And so a lot of different ways I think they can go here. Byron Murphy, just as a player, though, I think of who's on the board, like I think you can make a serious argument. He's just the best player available, if you're going by that kind of mentality. So, so we go defense.
Steve Avila is the center, and I believe they got 2 guards to replace or like to fill the guard spots in free agency.
Perfect. So, I couldn't remember exactly because I knew he was right guard at TCU, and he played there. And then I was seeing reports that he was going to kick in. And so, but anyways, so we go defensive tackle here. They could go corner. In this pick, we have them go corner, have them go TJ Tampa. As we mentioned, there's a lot of guys that they brought in, to address the secondary. Probably the biggest weakness, I would say, on the Rams team was that secondary. And so even though with that, I still think corner's an absolute need for the team to try and get younger. And a guy like TJ Tampa, getting him here in the second round, I think at minimum it's going to be good depth. But then he can develop and learn from the guys, the veterans that are brought in, and kind of give him little tips and tricks so he could be NFL ready, maybe come the end of the season or even to starting out his sophomore year in 2025.
Yeah, and I think he's a really good, at the very least, I think he's a really good matchup piece at 6'2", 200 pounds, going to be able to handle those big physical receivers. I think you look in that division, you have DK Metcalf, Brandon Ayuk, and then if you haven't seen the Arizona Cardinals mock draft, they get Marvin Harrison Jr. And so a lot of big physical receivers in that division, and I think going and getting a corner that can match up with them, it would be a very smart thing to do. And then also I think you look, a lot of times bigger corners struggle with fluidity in the hips, and he's a very fluid athlete and has good ball skills. And so needs to be coached up a little bit, but I think this Rams coaching staff would do a pretty good job of bringing him along and getting him ready to go, especially in years 2 and 3, as he's had some time to see NFL level competition.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. So just an overall, just a great player. So let's move on now to their next pick. We have them going Patrick Paul here, offensive tackle. He's a good developmental piece overall, and it's, as we mentioned, like they've been improving that offensive line more and more last season, and then even a lot as well within this offseason. But I think still getting a player like your developmental piece as well is kind of help protect Matt Stafford in the interim, be a swing tackle minimum to start out, but then he can slowly develop to be some of those starting pieces. He's just a great player overall. They want to address the secondary again here, or maybe go defensive line at some of these spots as well. Leonard Taylor and Michael Jr. I think would be great guys to maybe slowly start to implement some replacements for Aaron Donald if they wanted to wait on addressing the defensive line.
Yeah, and I think with Patrick Paul, the plan would probably be to move him over to right tackle. Rob Havenstein is 31 now. Maybe I think he might be 32 before the season starts. I'd have to double check that. But getting a guy, Patrick Paul, I think at the left tackle spot would be more ready to start now. Switching from left to right tackle is not nearly as easy as I feel people think. But I think you get him a year behind an experienced guy, get him ready to kind of replace him. I think then that's when you look at the potential of Patrick Paul being 6'7", 330 with those movement skills. And I think he had 38-inch arms that measured at the combine. And then you start to put together what like could be in a year from now. And I think it would be well worth the 83rd pick.
Yeah. Yeah. So. No, I agree. And then said, I think too, in some order, we went defensive line, corner, offensive line. I think those are going to be the three main positions that they address, but maybe not in that order if they want to mix it up. And so, because the Rams, they've improved a lot. Last year, they were one of the more shocking teams, and so it's going to be fun to see what they do here within the top 100 for their picks. Let's wrap this up here, though, going over their day 3 picks here, starting out at 154. They don't have a 4th round pick, but they have several 5th round, a lot of 6th rounds, and then wrapping up with a 7th round here. But Grayson Murphy, edge rusher. Dallin Holker as well, tight end. Holker as well, I think, too, with Tyler Higbee tearing his ACL. They have made some moves in the offseason kind of bring in some other guys. But still, you never know. Just try and bring in some guys as well here. And once again, then focusing on the offensive side of the ball, hadn't really addressed too much of the skill position players. I guess you did just get Holker. But in the 6th round here, Trevor Keegan, interior offensive lineman, and then Isaiah Davis as well, running back. Hopefully maybe take a little bit of pressure off of Kyron Williams. And so maybe get a little bit of more balance here as well.
Yeah. And then just to kind of wrap things up here, Ryan Flournoy, the wide receiver, another late round, small school guy, just to kind of develop and see what he can turn into. MJ Devonshire, and then Michael Barrett. All these guys, I think you look at really 5 of these 7 picks. And I think all these guys are mostly going to be special teams contributors in the first year, especially with the new rules. I feel like there's going to be a transition to height, weight, speed guys contributing a lot more on special teams, because I think it's going to come down to guys that can block and move. So I don't think like the days of seeing the big tight ends and maybe some mobile offensive linemen on kickoff duty, I think are gone. And so it'll be interesting to see how that's played out. But with the Rams being one of the leading special teams units in the league, actually, I say that I think they were one of the worst last year, but they have been really good in years past. I think getting a lot of guys here in the late round that could contribute in that aspect of the game would be very important. And all in all, I think the Rams do a really good job of filling needs with the best player available on the board. You look at Byron Murphy, getting him at 19 is great value. TJ Tampa, 52, height, weight, speed corner that needs a little bit of work, but I think with the wide receivers in that division is also really solid. So I think they did a good job in this draft.
Yeah, we did a great job.
Yeah. Well, obviously we like it, but I think a Rams fan should like it if this is a similar outcome to the draft. So
well, and with where this offense is at now, then even then all the moves that they've made in the offseason so far, it is definitely going to be a best player available. I feel it'll be a best player available mentality in general, and so I think that they did a good job hitting a lot of key needs and then getting a lot of just great players, especially two of those their first 3 picks, and so. We'll just have to kind of wait and see. You know, when you don't have a 4th round pick and then you got a lot of picks in the 200s, you're like trying to find the best diamond in the rough that you can.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and wrap up this mock draft here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below on what you thought of this Rams 7-round mock draft. Other than that, we will see you guys next time.